for the brilliant Cal Wilson.
Hello. Oh, you're lovely. I had a really weird gig last weekend. I'd literally got as far as, "Good evening, ladies and when a guy up the back yelled out, "Get off and put your mother on." I didn't quite understand what that meant. I was like, what does that mean? Is it sort of a weirdly aggressive compliment? Like, "You look too young to be doing this, you overconfident embryo. Get off and put your mother on." So I just went, "Is that what you say to your wife?" And the rest of the audience kind of did that, but he didn't love me. I felt a bit bad about it. I feel bad about lots of stuff. I feel guilty about all sorts of things. I'd love to be one of those people that's just carefree and can have casual flings, but the last time I tried to have a one-night stand, I got married and had a baby. My son is an only child. I like to call it limited edition. And the burden of being a parent is the knowledge that no matter how good your intentions are towards your child, at some point, you will fuck them up. You are going to scar them for life, and you won't know when it's going to happen. When my son was 2, we took him to a transport museum because he loves things that are boring. And he got really freaked out by this life-size model of a horse. So I picked him up and I went, "It's nothing to be scared about. Let's go over and see the horsey together. We'll go over, we'll pat the horsey together. It's okay, we'll pat the horsey." And he reached out his chubby little trusting hand and he was just about to pat the horsey on the nose when it started to talk. And he lost his mind. It was awful. He just did the full emergency koala onto me and I was like, "Oh, this is dreadful. He's so terrified, but it's frickin' hilarious." There is nothing like the guilt of finding your child's distress funny. I was like, that's it for him and horses. I've scarred him for life. And sure enough, every time we went near another horse that afternoon, he'd just cling on to me. And the thing is, my son is not a very cuddly child, so I quite enjoyed it. And we found ourselves going near the horses quite a bit. And the hard thing is you try and be honest with your kids about the big stuff, and we had our old cat cremated recently. He had died. But the thing is, the cat is still in the tin, because we've been meaning to sprinkle him in the garden, but we just haven't had a still day. And I don't want to get into that whole kind of... I've seen too many humorous movies. So the cat is still in the tin, and Digby wanted to know how the cat had got small enough to fit in there. And I didn't want to go, "We burnt him." So I just said, "Well, you go to a special place and your body gets really, really hot and then you crumble down to ashes." And he was quite happy with that explanation, except now, whenever we have a hot day, he thinks we're going to die. And his great-grandmother passed away, and I said to him, "Now, darling, you know that Grammy's died?" And he said, "Yes, Grammy's been scrapped." And I said, "Grammy's had a scrap?" And he goes, "No, Grammy's been scrapped." And it was at that point that I realised I've left all the big explanations up to Thomas the Tank Engine. Because then he goes, "They've taken Grammy to the smelter's yard." And I went, "You know what? That is close enough." That's all from me. You've been absolutely lovely. Good night.